The search for Stock Cars Pot of Gold encompasses 31 different contests covering over 12,000 racing miles. To overcome the competition, the driver and his team must be aggressive, tenacious, and consistent. When success comes, there is a feeling like none other. One man elevates himself above the others. Tonight, we will crown him NASCAR Winston Cup champion. From the main ballroom of the Waldorf Astoria in Midtown Manhattan, our annual pilgrimage to the Big Apple for the NASCAR Winston Cup Awards Banquet. That's coming up in about a half hour, but for the next half hour, enjoy this edition of Speedweek. I'm Bob Jenkins, and a lot to do tonight, including the celebration of Winston's 25th year of involvement in Winston Cup competition. Now, just after they became involved, this guy sitting next to me, Benny Parsons, won the championship. That was a long time ago.
1973, and I picked up my trophy at the Plaza Hotel in Daytona Beach, Florida, and about $71,000.
Wow.
Tonight. There's nothing wrong with the Plaza or Daytona, but tonight we're at the Waldorf Astoria, Midtown, New York, and Jeff Gordon will pick up almost $1.5 million.
Oh, I'm glad you didn't win that much. What would you do with it?
Trade find something to do with it.
Not only Benny and myself, but Dr. Jerry Punch will be with us for Speed Week and for the award ceremony coming up. Doc?
Thanks, Bob. Arguably, there's no more festive atmosphere than New York City during the holidays. And tonight, all the focus of that celebration is right here at the Grand Ballroom of the Waldorf Astoria. And folks already enjoying themselves tonight. I will be here on the floor tonight to talk to the championship team and some very special guests during our half-hour Speed Week. Bob?
All right, Jerry, thank you very much. Well, Jeff Gordon's birthday, August 4th, 1971. He is 24 years of age, and man, has he accomplished a lot racing-wise in those 24 years. But how does it stack up against some of the other world-famous drivers at that age? We'll begin with Supertex. By the end of 1959, young Foyt, who was almost 25, had run in 2 Indy 500s and 27 championship races with 2 runner-up honors. His only major event wins, 3 midget and 2 sprint feature victories on the USAC National Circuit. In 1964, Mario Andretti brought 20 modified feature wins with him to the USAC Championship Trail. He ran 10 races with 1 third-place finish, but within 1 year, Andretti would claim his first USAC National crown. One would think that to win 5 world driving titles, you would have to start early. Not so for Juan Manuel Fangio. He was 39 years old during his first Grand Prix season in 1950. The great Jim Clark was 24 in his first Formula One season of 1960. Driving for Lotus, Clark finished 8th in the point standings. His first win didn't come until 1962. Clark was 29 when his career reached its zenith. An Indianapolis victory and the world driving title were his in 1965. What we are witnessing in the mid-1990s is a true phenomena called youth. In 1993, 24-year-old Michael Schumacher rose to the top of Formula One by winning his first races. His 2 successive championships immediately have followed. And our story comes full circle back to a young French-Canadian named Jacques Villeneuve. A child of 10 when father Gilles was at the height of his Formula One career, Jacques Villeneuve won the Indy 500 Rookie of the Year and his first IndyCar race at the age of 23. Of course, we know the outcome of the 1995 season. And in case you're wondering, Jacques is older than Jeff by 118 days. Well, here are the 5 youngest NASCAR Winston Cup champions. Bill Rexford, the youngest, he was 23, then Jeff. Richard Petty won at 27, so did Terry Labonte and Herb Thomas. Where do you fall into that category? Any idea?
Well, I was 32 years old when I won the championship, but, you know, just think how much more Jeff Gordon has got to look forward to. Yeah. How many more championships and how many more victories.
That's right, and a little bit later in the program, we're going to be talking with the champions who have won their titles during Winston's involvement the last 25 years about what the championship really means to them. Let's go back down to the floor now, and Dr. Jerry Punch.
Thanks, Bob. A major part of the championship team is visiting with me right now. To my right, Rick Hendrick. To my left, crew chief, championship crew chief Ray Evernham. Let me visit with Rick. Rick, 11 years a car owner, all those drivers, all those wonderful talents, and you finally here as a Winston Cup championship owner.
Boy, Jerry, you know, I've been here 11 years, and I've never been nervous, and it's hard. It's been hard, but this has been a lot of fun, and you know, we really it's a special night. I just wish everybody that owned a car that raced in this deal could experience it.
During the early years, you knew you had some young talents. You had Jeff Bodine, Tim Richmond. You knew that Tim, if it hadn't been for the illness, that Tim might have won a championship. He had that kind of ability.
Absolutely. I remember talking to Richard Childress after Tim won, I think, 6 races and 8 poles. And Richard said, you know, we're going to have to beat him for the championship next year. And I think if Tim had lived, Tim would have been a Winston Cup champion many times.
As a tribute to you, you came back with even more talent. You find a youngster in Jeff Gordon, and boy, what a year he's had. Let me quickly slip over to your crew chief here. And Ray, congratulations. We know about the year, but what people may not know is how you got the job. Andy Petrie, of all people, is who made the phone call.
Yeah, he really did. You know, Andy and I were good friends from my days at IROC, and he knew I didn't have a full-time job and asked me if I wanted to do a couple races with this Gordon kid. So I think now he's probably not, maybe that was a bad phone call.
This Gordon kid beat Andy Petrie and Dale Earnhardt for the championship. Hey, congratulations. You won the Western Auto Mechanic of the Year award, 25 grand, and I understand you've got a special trip planned with that money.
Yeah, I really do. That money, you know, you're not really the Western Auto Mechanic without your Western Auto crew, and we're going to take that money and we're going to take all the guys and their wives and we're going to go on a cruise for 4 or 5 days, and it's the first time we've ever been away together as a group, and we're not going to have anything to do with racing.
Well, next year he gets even more responsibility. The boss here has said now you're going to have 2 teams to look after, not only the Rainbow Warriors, but the Bud Bunch. He's going to be looking after number 24 and number 25, so watch both those teams along with Terry Labonte. All 300 teams are going to be tough in 96. Bob?
You know, Benny, Ray mentioned yesterday that he grew up about 10 miles by way the crow flies from right here in Midtown Manhattan.
I mean, from right here.
Yeah,
So
New
it's true.
Jersey.
You can come back home.
That's right. A bit of a homecoming for Ray tonight. We've only just begun. We'll continue with Speed Week. Coming up at the top of the hour, the NASCAR Winston Cup Awards Banquet.
Your car's engine was made for the open road. But that's not where it is day in and day out. Stop-and-go driving can kill an engine by creating deposits and wear that rob performance and shorten engine life. That's why you need the added protection of TM8, a new engine treatment from Valvoline. TM8 coats moving parts with 8 friction-fighting ingredients, including Teflon. So no matter where you are, your engine will run just like it's on the open road. TM8 from Valvoline, because driving is more stop than go.
On the 6th day of Christmas, my true love said to me,
Domino's Ultimate Deep Dish gets quite a reaction.
Rings for calling birds, refresh and to tell doves.
A zesty thick crust, cheese melted to the edge. It's Ultimate Deep Dish only from Domino's. Call now for a large with 1 topping, just $9.99.
They're growing up so quickly.
And a partridge in a pear tree.
In Denton, Texas, a lot of folks who work on their cars go to AutoZone because they know they're going to find quality parts, low prices, great selection, and good people like Tom Robinson. You see, Tom's the kind of guy who really likes to help folks out. And since he's been around cars most all his life, he knows his parts, too. Oh, sure, there are other parts stores in town, but when it comes to getting the right part, the right price, and good advice from folks like Tom, there's just no place better than AutoZone.
hey Santa, our budget's real tight.
No problem. Just think of Craftsman. It's the gift guaranteed to last forever. Just look at all these great Craftsman gift ideas from Sears. At great prices, too. Craftsman for Christmas. Only at Sears and Sears hardware stores.
Now, you have a NASCAR lap record, don't you?
Yeah, I've raced in the computer, and so I like very much to race in Watkins Glen, and well, it's very fruitful because it's it's 118.053, something like this. It was the lap record of Mark Martin, and I've put in 118.2235, something like this. So it's a lot of fun.
I'm nearly sure that they're gonna go over there. I don't know exactly to go and have a look for a card, or I really would love to do some races in NASCAR. When I watch television, I would like to go that somebody can teach me, because obviously it's a different thing, and to do it at least in the winter or time or in the free time, 1 or 2 races. Because it's fascinating always this kind of races.
Are you going to be able to pronounce Rubens Barrichello if he comes over here to race?
Ruben who?
No, Rubens.
Rubens. Oh, yeah, I can get it.
Okay.
Sooner or later.
Well, NASCAR holds their annual news conference the day before this awards banquet. They held it yesterday, announced the schedule. They also talked about racing across the pond. They're going to the Pacific Rim to compete. The Chevys, Fords, and Pontiacs we see compete 31 times a year are headed to Japan. NASCAR's President Bill France told the gathering 3 non-points paying demonstration races will take place over a 3-year period beginning in November of next year. About 30 invited American drivers will compete on a 1.4-mile road course at Suzuka Circuit Land southwest of Tokyo. Suzuka's president, Takashi Matsuda, said the events will be an unforgettable page in Japanese motorsports. The annual Buddy Schumann Award was accepted by Jody Matthews on behalf of his father, Banjo. Jeff Gordon was one of 4 drivers to pick up Unocal bonus checks. His totaled $91,200 for winning the pole and race at Rockingham. Bobby Labonte turned the trick at Michigan and won $7,600. Mark Martin's check amounted to $15,200 for Watkins Glen, and the big winner was Sterling Marlin at Talladega, the total $121,600. Dave Marcus' name was drawn by Dale Earnhardt, and Dave will join 16 others in the February Busch Clash. Benny, it was mentioned that they're building a 1.5-mile oval at Suzuka that will be finished in 1998, so they may be racing there someday. And Mr. Matsuda said one reason they're doing this is to embrace the popularity of American-made cars in Japan.
Well, I think we've been watching the Toyotas and Nissans race in this country on road courses, what they do best. I think we need to go to Japan and race on an oval track and do what we do best.
Well, let's see what Jerry Punch has as he does what he does best from the floor. Doc?
Well, Bob, I caught up with 1995 Max Race Car Rookie of the Year, Ricky Craven. And Ricky, what a great year for you. Rookie of the Year in the Busch North and the Busch South, and now the Winston Cup. You got a roll going here, but if you look back at your year, what are the best memories that you'll carry away?
Well, this is one of them. You know, it's a privilege for me to be here, and it was the only way I was going to get my ticket punched was to win Rookie of the Year. But just making it to Winston Cup, you know, 15 years of work is paying off, and I think I've earned an opportunity to be here a few years.
You took another giant step this year, becoming part owner along with Larry Hedrick. Now, that's going to give you some momentum for 96.
It's going to give us an opportunity to work together, build some continuity, and build a program around me as a driver for several years, and that's really what my intention's been all along.
Ricky Craven, Larry Hedrick, Waddell Wilson, Rick Wren. Remember those names. You might see them on the stage here pretty soon coming up, Bob.
Our congratulations to Ricky Craven, this year's Max Race Cards Rookie of the Year. Take a look now at the 1996 NASCAR Winston Cup schedule. You'll be able to see 18 of the events on ESPN and ABC in 1996. And stand by, we will be back with more Speed Week from the Waldorf Astoria in a moment.
Winter driving? That's no problem. Introducing the all-new Isuzu Rodeo with standard dual airbags for just $299 a month. That's right, an Isuzu Rodeo with standard dual airbags, 4-wheel drive and AC is just $299 a month. Plus, get automatic, power windows and locks, cruise, and the best warranty in the business. Winter driving? That's no problem. Isuzu Rodeo with standard dual airbags, just $299 a month. But you gotta hurry. Get one now at your West Penn Isuzu dealers.
Actually ride the Thunder? It's all about coverage. Inside, outside, in the pit, in the moment. Like seeing the square inch on either side and gunning it up the middle. Dropping down to the bottom of the track and taking it. Want to feel it? To get the contact your cable or satellite provider.
Beautiful shot of Midtown Manhattan, and we are here at the Waldorf Astoria, the NASCAR Winston Cup Awards Banquet coming up at the top of the hour. Right now, Benny Parsons and I are involved in a special edition of ESPN Speedweek. And you know, Benny, since Winston became involved in NASCAR Winston Cup competition, 11 different drivers have won the championship, including yourself, of course.
Only 11 in 25 years.
Think about that. I mean, that's a very privileged honor to be champion of this division.
I really had never thought about that. I am honored to be part of that group. That's amazing.
6 of them are still driving. 5 are still active in motorsports. And you know, each has a very unique perspective on what the championship means to him. Driving for legendary Junior Johnson, Cale Yarborough did in 1976, 77, and 78 what no other had been able to accomplish: win 3 consecutive championships. Some of his biggest competition came from Bobby Allison, who finally got his turn at the podium in 1983. Now, both car owners, Bobby and Cale, know the ingredients needed to mold a champion and the long-range effects of the outcome.
The crew has prepared the car consistently well, but they also support him. If he makes a mistake, you know, they don't criticize him. They don't get mad at him. They say, we had a problem today. And if they make a mistake, he doesn't criticize them. And I think that's great, too. And it'll take all of that to consistently be that good.
You can go through your racing career and have a good career throughout your whole racing career, but if you win that Winston Cup championship, and when you're introduced after that, they will always introduce you as former Winston Cup champion. And that's something that goes a long ways in this sport, and something that I wouldn't take anything in the world for.
Darrell Waltrip may like to call himself Old DW, but in 1981, 82, and 85, he and again Junior Johnson were the team to beat. As the first to be fated in New York City, Darrell realized there was more to be gained than just winning races.
We were in the little Starlight room where we have our press conference now, and there were only a few hundred people, a couple of hundred people, that's all that fit in that room. My family was there, my mom and dad, and Stevie's mom and dad, and it was just an incredible moment. And but the big thing was it set me apart. You know, there's winners and there's champions, and you can win a lot of races and never win the championship, but when you've won that championship and you wear that ring, people recognize you for the rest of your life as a Winston Cup champion, and it just sets you apart from everybody else that little bit, and like I said, gives you a lot of credibility.
Terry Labonte, Bill Elliott, and Rusty Wallace claim 1 championship each. They found out how addictive it can be and that repeating is not a given.
Well, I think if you've ever won the championship before, that you work even harder to try to win it again. And I think that holds true for the driver or the team or whatever. Anybody that's ever been there and has won that championship wants to win it again.
Well, I think once you've won the championship once, you want to come back and do it again. And I think you put a lot of pressure on yourself to come back and try to repeat. And, you know, you're constantly putting your pressure on yourself week in and week out. I think I saw a deal read an article somewhere where race car drivers were under the, like, 4th down the list from having a lot of pressure on them. I think the president being the first.
It was a heartbreaker to lose it by 24 points in 88, and to come back in 89 and win the thing, then lose it by 60 or 70 points to Earnhardt in 93. That was tough. So it's kind of been, I feel like I could have won 3 or 4 of them, and I keep beating on the door trying to do it, like the rest of these 42 drivers do, but it'll be finally, I finally did it. It'll be a great feeling.
14 times the final standings have enabled either Richard Petty or Dale Earnhardt to take home the hardware and the handsome bonuses. And don't think for a minute that Jeff Gordon isn't thinking about championships number 2 through 7 right now.
Being a Winston Cup champion for the first time was just, I mean, I was in awe. I was just really amazed and excited and in disbelief. And then it was really harder to win the next one. But once we won another one, then we won several since. And it's just a feeling that until you experience it, no one can, you know, tell you how it's going to be or nothing. You got to experience the whole year, the competition, the hard work, everything that goes with it, and then get set at that head table in New York. That's what it's all about.
In the early years of Winston Cup racing, you know, everybody looked at it from let's win races and that'll win championship. You know, Jeff's been exceptional situation because he's come in, he's 24 years old, but he's got 15, 20 years of experience over a lot of people that just came into racing when they was 21 or 25 or whatever. So, you know, it takes it all to make it work, and he's got the talent to make it work.
Hey, we missed one of the champions, the 1973 champion, Benny Parsons. What did the championship mean to you?
Oh, it was fantastic. And again, I think Darrell Waltrip, they all said it exactly right. it sets you apart. When you introduced me at the top of this show, you said former Winston Cup champion. But I want to say to Jeff, you know, you got to be a little bit humble, because you may have one of those disastrous years like Bill Elliott had this year. He's a former champion, but he didn't set the world on fire. That may be on the horizon for you, and you got to be able to get through that to win 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7, and maybe 8.
Winning one doesn't necessarily mean that you can win another.
That's exactly right.
All right, well, we're going to come back in just a moment. You know, Tony Stoner was going for 3 championships in the United States Auto Club this year. Did he make it? We'll find out when we come back.
Continental Airlines, now among the best in the business at getting you to your destination on time.
The NASCAR Winston Cup Awards Banquet coming up from the Waldorf Astoria here in Midtown Manhattan at the top of the hour. This is a special edition of Speedweek. I'm Bob Jenkins. We're honoring Jeff Gordon, who not too long ago was a midget and Silver Crown champion in the United States Auto Club. This year, Tony Stewart was trying to win those 2 titles and another. Let's find out if he was successful.
3 races to go. Tony Stewart was closing in on his 3rd championship of the year. The West Coast swing kicked off at a very foggy Ventura as the cars rolled out for the main event. A dense fog rolled in, delaying the action. A half hour later, the race got underway with Rick Hendricks pulling out to an early lead. After starting 10th, Western States dominator Billy Boat was on the move, passing leader Hendricks just past halfway. Stewart had struggled most of the night, but his fortunes turned around when second in points Andy Mishner flipped in turn 3. He made it back for the restart, but later dropped out and finished 11th. Stewart was then the beneficiary of this last lap move by Kenny Irwin Jr., who was going for the lead. Third place Johnny Cofer got the worst of the incident. Stewart moved up to second as Boat recorded his first USAC national win. Former winner Stan Fox was on hand for the 55th running of the Turkey Night Grand Prix at Bakersfield Speedway. In preliminary action, Walt Johnson got pinned against the wall, sending him, Jerry Coons Jr., and Billy Pouch upside down. Later, Randy Cook took this ride in a second Steve Lewis car. There were no serious injuries from either incident. Boat sat on the pole for the 100-lap feature, but it was outside front row starter Cofer who bounced back from his Ventura flip to grab the early lead. He held that lead for the first 21 laps when Boat passed him and his engine broke at the same time. Irwin mixed it up with Boat in the closing laps, but Billy slammed the door and drove away to his 17th win of the season and his first of the annual classic. Stewart finished 7th, but ahead of Mishner, and that clinched Tony's 3rd title of the '95 season.
Yeah, it's been a long time coming, but you know, we've had a great season. Even if we didn't win this 3rd one, we still were going to consider ourselves having a great season, and this just makes it perfect. I mean, I don't think we could have done anything else better.
What an accomplishment. Now, Billy Boat won the final race of the series at Paris, California, giving him 18 victories for the year. And that tied the all-time record set by Sleepy Tripp. So congratulations to both of those drivers. Well, Bill Elliott is the most popular driver for 1995 again. He also won the AP Meet the Parts Challenge Award. Let's go down to Dr. Jerry Punch, who is with him.
Thanks, Bob. Well, you would think when a driver would win his unprecedented 10th consecutive most popular driver award, that would be the highlight of this week, but not the case for Bill Elliott. Bill, your highlight came earlier in the week.
Absolutely. Sandy and I had a little baby boy 8 o'clock Tuesday night, and it's been great. Sandy's still in the hospital, and I tried to stay with him as long as I could, but she's doing fine, he's doing fine, and, you know, we're looking forward for a lot of things. I mean, this year's kind of changed my life a lot in a lot of different ways. Being voted most popular driver for the 10th time is a very gratifying experience from that standpoint, but still, you know, for Sandy and I, you know, she wanted a boy real bad, and God looked after us well enough and brought one in the world. It's a good, healthy boy, and we'll see how things go from here.
Well, his name is William Clyde Elliott II. They're going to call him Chase. He's going to be chasing his dad around a lot of racetracks for years to come. And we say goodbye. Back to Bob. I would want to say hello, and our prayers are with Casey Elliott, Bill's nephew. And by the way, he is back at home in Dawsonville, still undergoing treatment back from the Houston Medical Center. And Casey, our prayers are with you, my friend. Bob?
And we certainly second those thoughts, Jerry. Bill will be one of 10 drivers up on the stage tonight to be honored. And, of course, the big honoree will be the 1995 Winston Cup champion, Jeff Gordon. We'll be back to wrap things up in just a moment.
Now here's a look at the CarQuest racing calendar. For all your auto parts needs, you'll find it at CarQuest.
Hey, Santa, my time's getting short.
The perfect gift for the guy with every Craftsman tool? A Craftsman tool storage organizer. Sears has just about every size at great prices. Craftsman for Christmas. Only at Sears and Sears hardware stores.
Now, an oil made just for your hard-working engine. 4x4 from Quaker State. Off-roading, extreme temperatures, towing and hauling. They all make your light truck or 4x4 work extra hard and could shorten its life. Why settle for a conventional car oil? Get 4x4 from Quaker State. The intelligent oil for hard-working engines.
Now, take home a legend. Get an authentic autographed Superstar lithograph, a $30 value, just $7.50. See details on cases of 4x4 at your local supplier.
Presenting the Dremel Multi-Pro. You cut, Dremel cuts. You sharpen, Dremel sharpens. You polish, Dremel polishes. You drill, Dremel drills. You clean, Dremel cleans. You sand, Dremel sands. You grind, Dremel grinds. You hammer. Did I mention we cut? The Dremel Multi-Pro. With up to 30,000 RPM, it has the speed you need to power through hundreds of jobs.
This special edition of Speedweek live from New York has been brought to you by Quaker State, the intelligent oil for longer engine life, and by the Dremel Multi-Pro tool. It has the speed you need to power through hundreds of jobs.
The festivities have begun down on stage. We're going to join in progress in just a few moments, so please stay with us. Benny's out getting a sandwich, and we're going to come back here to have all the festivities regarding the NASCAR Winston Cup Award ceremony in just a moment. Jeff Gordon, of course, the 1995 champion. It's been a whirlwind trip and visit to New York City for him. Let's take a look as we say so long, but stay with us for the awards banquet.
It's hard not to enjoy this town, you know. I love New York! When we only come every once in a while, it's definitely worthwhile. It's pretty amazing I've won the championship, actually. Knicks game tonight. I'm sitting on the floor. I'm going to the Phantom of the Opera on Wednesday night. Letterman on Thursday night. Yeah, I'm afraid I might not be able to handle this taxi cab. Man, that's a lot crammed into 5 days, but it was all worth it. Winning the NASCAR Winston Cup Championship has been the greatest experience of my life. And you know, I love New York.